One. All right. Hello, hello. Welcome, everybody. So I've got here String on the line with me. String, would you like to give an introduction of yourself? We've known each other for quite some time. And please do your intro.
To say that George and I know each other from way back to the creative days when he was running a media company or animation company.
Yes.
And that's how far we know, like over 10 years, maybe?
Yes.
Maybe.
Yes, I
right?
think so. Around
And then
2020, 2012, 2010.
Yeah, and then our relationship evolved to the point where it's like very parallel to like crypto space.
Mm-hmm.
From communities to crypto to startups. I feel like we're like always 1 or 2 years apart in terms of journeys, but then sometimes we collide in timing as well.
Exactly. And
so,
yes.
yeah.
No, go.
I know I forgot the intro, but I love to continue. Like, we have a very long, almost like brother sisterhood kind of relationship.
Yes.
And this is like the fun part of building that. So my name is String. If you have to know anything about me, I love fried chicken. Like, adore
Yes.
it.
Yes. String
See
does
my
love fried chicken.
Yeah, you see my chubby corn, it's eating fried chicken. But if you also, I really care about branding and finding peak creativity. And I was able to find that through being a creative creator, like super creator. Like I've been on Lenovo 4 times, LinkedIn Top Voice, a Lenovo ambassador, I should say. And now like I'm exploring my creativity because I want to explore intersection between communities, creativity, and technology. And NFT has allowed me to explore this intersectionality.
Love it. And obviously, for those who will be tuning in, do you want to maybe share a little bit about your journey from your actual physical string days in your creative journey? Because I remember when you were doing your installation projects back in the day and how that has evolved into your brand, how you owned it, and how that kind of saw you traveling the world and doing your thing from a branding perspective.
I guess like everyone's here to talk about learn about more about Chubbycons and Chubbiverse, but that's like I think all the years that I've been building up for the last 10 years has accumulated to that point for me, for the team and I to succeed. But like, I can't believe you bring out my like string. That's where everyone's asked, is string your real name? It is and isn't. It's like my name that like I totally own. And I feel like I am that because it's a manifestation of what I believe in, connecting the dots, seeing the future, bringing it back. And I'm always connecting. So like string, I did all of these street art installations using string, connecting people, time, and stories together. And I use pretty much, if I had to visualize it, I made like colorful spider webs on the streets.
Yep.
So I was like Spider Woman. And yeah, and over time I realized like being an artist, why I find a lot of creativity around it, it was very hard to monetize because I had to rely on grants. And then I had to find part-time jobs. But for some reason, like I was documenting religiously about my journey. And I became really good at social media. And that I realized that was more of the vehicle for me to monetize, to build up my network, to find creativity, because marketing is quite creative as well. And the fact that I went from graduated as an interior designer, jumped to being an artist, then became a marketer, a storyteller marketer, that's like my journey really. So as long as like I'm able to be creative, then I'm happy.
Yeah.
I'm pretty simple.
And so I guess let's jump into the Chubbiverse, Chubby Corns, right, to today, and how that came about. Because I remember talking to you like not too long ago. I think just before you went all in, right, on the in the NFT space. And so what happened, right? Like, how did things explode, and what's your take?
So I've been dabbling in crypto for a long time. I think I'm always like finding these moments of intersectionality, but didn't think the market was ready yet, or the timing wasn't right for me to enter and go full all in. So I felt that when NFT came around, I noticed patterns of growth and opportunity. So, and I'm like, oh, I feel like I need to experiment in this space, even though I was running the trusted voice startup at the time. But I felt like I always like recognize opportunities and timing. And the timing says that I have to like learn about NFTs because the gateway for the mass market is in NFTs compared to like DeFi or something like that as well. So like what I did was I call up all my artistic friends. Do you have like cute characters? Do you have characters? Do you have available time? And only one person said yes to me because like I'm crazy sometimes. So I need another crazy person to pull along the journey as well. And so Cinemunch is like the co-creator of Chubbicorns. She had like whole heaps of collections of characters. And then, but the one that stood out was like these fat, derpy, chubby, like unicorns.
Yep.
It already existed even before it became an NFT. And she brought on another person along because it was like a creative team behind this. So they showed me it and then they developed it. I noticed like a cute space that we want to go into. So we decided, first it was 100 Chubbicorns. Then we realized, no, I said, oh, the sweet spot is 250 because I wanted to get 100 true fans. And I have a feeling that 100 Chubbicorns wasn't enough. So like for Grit, within 2 weeks, we were able to develop 250 digitally hand-drawn, really unique, very lovable Chubbicorns that like eat JPEGs, vomit rainbows, and bring goodbye. And because of that, within 2 weeks, like we didn't even like prep, we just uploaded it onto OpenSea, and there's metadata mistakes there because we're just learning everything. But for 6 hours, I remember like uploading it with another person because there's 4 creators, and we just uploaded it manually on OpenSea. It was a grind, right?
Wow.
No code. Now, like you want to like have a dev person in place to help generate like a big collection, like 888 or 10,000 and stuff. So it makes sense to bring on a dev. But I just wanted to experience the space. So you do need artwork. Specifically, we wanted to like go down the profile pathway because I feel like that's a collection, that's a community-based thing. And we noticed a space in the cuteness space, and we also noticed that it's like I just want to get into NFT, and it just happened. Like usually you have to do multiple projects, but we just found product market fit or community market fit, I should say, in this case.
And isn't it interesting, right? Like some projects that you work on in life, it takes so much of your time. You could spend like hours, days, years working on it, and then nothing. But then something like this, you do in a couple of weeks or even a couple of days, and then bam, you hit something. So on the team, how many of there are in total for the team?
We have 4 core teams and part-time 2. We just hired like on part-time basis another 4.
Wow. And what are their roles as well? The new hire?
So there's Space Pixel. He's like the alien chubby cat hopping around. He has token economics background. He's been running in the crypto space and businesses for like the last 6 years. So he was like part of the life cycle. So he's very familiar, and he's also helping us navigate the space because he's a more degen in. I'm not that much degen. He's totally degen. So I love that. So he's probably what I call more the tech and the architect. You know how there's hipsters, hustlers, and hackers. He's like definitely within the hacker. So I'm more like, I feel like I've become more of a project lead than a creator because usually I do the artwork. But Cinemunch and Froggy Cyborg, who's the meme machine, is more the creative side. So they're like what I call the hipsters. But I do take care of the marketing, branding, vision with the team. And I feel like I'm more the BD or like more the operational role a little bit. But also leading the community, helping with the marketing, and just making sure that things move along on a regular basis as well. And we have 2 devs and also 1 BD person. Like she's like focusing on commercializations. She's prancing around decentral Miami right now, just like talking to people, representing us in the USA market because we're based in Australia. Nice. And we just opened up the Chubby DAO, or moving towards that. So we have we have another BD community lead in that role. So it feels like we already like developed 3 or 4 products already in the matter of 3 months. And people's like, Deb, do something. Down. But we've been like, when you think about it, we achieved a lot in the last 3 months.
And so many questions. In terms of the community market fit, right? At the beginning, were most of your early adopters from OpenSea, or were they coming from other avenues?
You know what? So ChubbyCon's like launched during tech season, which was like when Loot came around. So all the energy, because short attention span is really funny inside crypto and NFTs. Yeah. So you went over to, people were like buying techs and Loot. So we launched in a weird time, but there's no such thing as a perfect timing, to tell the truth. You either launch and you learn and then you survive. And so most of it, I think it was like when our like key influencers picked up on it, did we had a big growth. And it happened around the 2nd or 3rd day. And people are like, so it's through like Discord and Twitter, but it's, if you get picked up by key influencers, that's when like momentum happens.
Apologies, I just went to get the phone and I realized by putting the phone over on the other side, people might not be able to hear me. So I don't know if anybody was actually able to hear this whole time. For those who are on, thanks for staying on. And if you could just emoji react if you can hear String and I properly, that would be great. Because I think we had some people in. Okay, perfect. Thank you, Mo.
Great, Mo. Thank you, Mo.
All right, let's see how we go. Do you hear any echo for me, String, at the moment?
No, only when you move the phone around do I hear your rustling. But other than that, it's okay.
Okay, perfect. Let's do it. Let's continue on. All right. So, yeah, it's great to see the momentum that you guys have. You definitely have a meme machine going on, because I've been seeing the memes coming out and I'm like, that's brilliant. So from the meme side, for those who may be listening who aren't familiar with what's going on, all the cultural shifts or paradigm shifts, what is going on with the meme culture? And how do you see that translating into the business side of things? If we're looking at brands who are looking at this and going like, why are people buying JPEGs of rocks, or why are they into cute unicorns?
Yeah. So like in the NFT space, I like to describe, this is like the 3 trends that I see right now, which is like PFP, you have to be very cool or cute. Second thing is you have to be very memeable, because that's what makes it shareable. And third one is it's like very artistic. It would be like one-on-ones or like very particular artists. So they don't really rely on a big team. But if you're a collection size, you have to think in terms of scale. And I think that's a lot of small collections. It is a bit of a barrier for entry for it. But the thing is, people love building so much. You have to find the right person, or you just have to keep hustling and networking until you find that. And I just happen to have a very good network in the first place. So I just tapped into that really quickly. So yeah, I feel like I was pretty much a hustler. It's good that someone else takes care of the creativity, because like usually my energy usually helps with branding, artistic things. But now we have like a very good creative team that are very switch on, A grade, almost like S grade. In terms of international level, pumping out like memes. And so why is memes so important? Because again, it's the shareability about it, and how it's like the cultural identity and stories in a narrative that's very visual. And I think that's the thing with like crypto beforehand, like Ethereum, people just think it's like magic internet money. NFTs, they feel like, oh, they could identify with it, or they could like be part of the stories, and you could set the scene for it. It's almost like world setting.
Yes.
opportunities. So,
I guess,
imagine your chubby, like your chubby corn being in front of cereal. So there's already like a very, like your identity is associated with these images.
Yep.
And so the memes become like a more of a sentimental value about it as well. So what we do is we seed a lot of sentimental value and what the Chubbiverse will look like.
And so the Chubbiverse, let's talk more about that. And because you start off with the chubby corns, and I see that you also, there's like a chubby corn meme creator tool that you guys built.
Yeah, we call it the chubby meme machine.
Yes.
Yeah. So we have our Froggy Cyborg is definitely a meme machine. He's pumping out these like S-grade like memes that become artwork almost. Like people want to print them. People want to. They think he's like, oh, I want to be. He's an emerging artist, but so far he's like using that memes as a way to help connect and retain the community, add the sentimental value. So that's what it is. But we realize like the community wants to like pump out their memes as well. So we just made it. We noticed like they've been creating other tools and doing their own thing, but we created the chubby meme machine, and the person who developed it was also like, we partner up with an OG chubby corn, and he's developed this tool. Mark from Build Up. And so he did that, and now I think so far we've pumped about 500 memes in the last 2 weeks through these things. We uploaded backgrounds of the Chubbiverse, what it looks like, so people could put their NFTs in there. Yeah.
It reminds me of the old, I don't know if you remember Adobe Flash back in the day. And I don't know, when I looked at that meme generator, I was just thinking about even when, I was in my animation days, like those sort of things I was doing, but couldn't be applied in this type of level today. And so seeing that and seeing these tools come out just as quickly, but now it's tied to things like NFTs and a monetization aspect, I think it's opening up so many doors for creatives, and that whole starving artist trope from earlier is starting to shift.
Do you feel like you do need to understand how to make money from it? Because the gold mine is the royalties and the initial funding. It has crowdfunding aspect, but it doesn't have equity aspect. In exchange, you get the NFT.
Yes.
And that's done. But because there's like a flipping collection attitude, they expect the dev to help increase. There's an expectation to help increase the value of these NFTs as well. But people are, I have to say, not gonna lie, people are incredibly impatient.
So what are the types of things they're being impatient with?
They just want the money to go like this. People are money hungry in this space. I'm not gonna lie.
Yes.
They want another chubby corn effect, but there's only 250 chubby corns. So the scale is different from 88 second collection, which is the Chubbiverse Friends. So we found our product community market fit with chubby corns, and I tried to duplicate it, but they have like different scales. It means like you have to do like we went from 250 to 80. That's 10 times the growth or something almost. More than that, right? My numbers are bad, so that's why I'm not in the finance section.
Find somebody else to help. So I guess that's a good segue into what are some of the challenges and risks you're experiencing at the moment after this is sort of boom and growth, rapid. What are you seeing already?
Like the bull run. I feel like we always seem to be always the tail end of the bull run a little bit, but that's just the risk that you have to take. You either launch now or you wait for the next wave. But then what happens is like the previous collection will do better because people would rather invest in previous collections than new collections, because in this space there's no people rug all the time. What is your translation of rugs, just to let everyone know, George?
A rug pull is where you essentially get all of these users invested into whatever it is you're offering, and then pull the rug means you literally take all the money and run and leave everybody dry. Drop the value of whatever it is you're offering, and pull the rug.
Yeah, pulled the rug. So I've seen like some really amazing, like very visually appealing collections go to zero, but they have funds. Whereas like, I feel like maybe because I'm more of a long-term player and thinker, and I'm very patient, I just use the initial funds to, hey, what are we going to do to survive the bear run? How can we build the bear run? So, but also like when you're not familiar with community, you always have to, make it like play a lot with psychology and deal with the fun mentality.
Yep, 100%. And yeah, I think that's one of the things I've noticed about this space, right? Because it's intimately tied with crypto and the money aspects. Those sort of expectations do find their way in. And I've also seen another pattern whereby communities at the beginning, especially in this space, right, they always start out like warm, fuzzy, everybody knows each other. It's all great, it's all dandy. And then over time, they might become toxic, or the money stuff takes precedence over the good vibes. So what are your thoughts on this? What have been your observations so far? And how do you maybe plan to tackle it if or when that time comes?
I'm very practical. It's like you could leave, because then the faster you leave, the better, that more opportunities for other good vibes people come along. And I think these days people are incredibly impatient, and it does take a game of patience if you find a community that you like. Chubbicorns is an example of, we have holders for a reason, right? If they flip, they flip. Sometimes they accumulate a few, but they always have one. So our holder ratio for Chubbicorns is amazing. And we have a lot of,
what's amazing for you?
And I think we have about 170 holders.
Interesting.
So that's, but also there's a lot of females that come into Chubbicorns because we're very gender, appeal to a lot of genders, I feel like. And a lot of like different classes and stuff like that. So if you like cute stuff, Chubbicorns becomes probably like the top project to support and be part of. And if you're like more community driven, then you come here as well, because we don't have a roadmap, because we actively hit more milestones and grow faster than most projects. And we tend to like, even though we could share these things along the way, people just have expectations to like, when staking, or it's like, we're not staking because like we're thinking more about branding, and then it becomes into the legalities of a financial instrument. And we don't want to like delve into the financial instrument because there's a lot of legalities along and regulations that comes with it. You probably notice that we don't even talk about pricing in our Twitter spaces or like our Twitter accounts because of the legalities. Because imagine like the tax or government coming after you, but we have proof you left a lot of digital imprint showing that you're like a crypto heavy company. But we're a little bit more savvy because like we're thinking, no, we want to increase the brand IP of this, because then other people could like license it out and develop things for us. But we know that we're like fit into the crypto space. But I guess like when you think about it, we're trying to like think about it in terms of community, branding, and how to like make it more savory for, or more appealing to bigger global brands to opt in, because they probably don't want to like deal with financial instrument as well.
Yep. And it's a good point you make about that, because I think that's what, for those who are new to this space, if they're entering NFTs and maybe didn't go through the ICO craze of 2017, 2018, it's very interesting to notice, right, how in some NFT projects, they're using some of the same language from the ICO days, which puts them into very murky waters in regards to the legal things, because just more and more regulation is coming in already. And so they're setting themselves up for failure if they go down that route. So with the IP side, what are some examples of other brands that you have seen successfully, migrate any of their NFTs or work in this space?
Ape does a really good job. They were able to partner up with Hollywood almost, and developed like brands and I feel like they're more like they're going down the Hollywood route just because like they got partnered up with a agency that thinks about IP quite a lot. So they already developed merch shops already. They potentially talking to Netflix. I don't know if this has been confirmed, but this is like me flowing, seeing and hearing what they're doing. But also you could see with when they did that trademark IP, what they want to develop, which is merch, cartoons, books, games. Like these are indicators of the direction of how transferable these NFTs are, because like what you are essentially is a holder of, or the licensee, depending on the way the trademark works and the IP works, is that your NFT could be used for marketing and making sure that you become very memeable. So Chubbycons and Chubbiverse friends is very memeable. So that's why the more people see it, it becomes like it's like, oh, these were really cute, fat, chubby friends to have. So they become, the more people like know about us, the more they could see, oh, like I remember those days when there were NFTs and now they're just everywhere. So that's the goal. We just want to be like Pepe or. So Hello Kitty, I could imagine being NFTs.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. And I could see Disney jumping into NFTs.
Yep.
And Marvel jumping into NFTs. So it's like, so whereas we're going, it's almost like we're going down from NFTs to mainstream. I see mainstream moving over to NFTs as well, if they want to have rapid growth and community in place.
Yeah, 100%. I think, because that's the interesting thing about what you guys are doing. You're coming from the virtual side and then moving into potentially the physical, because what you guys are producing, you can definitely see, merch. I know that even my girlfriend, she loved Baby Yoda from the Star Wars series, and she only tuned in to the because of Baby Yoda, right? Because of how cute it is. And so that cuteness factor is definitely something that definitely works wonders in your favor.
I'm curious to see if like I call it the cute test. Show chubby clones or chubby friends to your girlfriend and see what she says.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt, I'm sure she'll be like, oh my God, that's so cute. I want one.
They have rainbow tears. They have like vomit as well, and they fart rainbows. Like it's so much fun. Like every day, I have to say, I wake up giggling every day.
Yeah, and that's a good place to be in. At least you get to enjoy the things that you're working on, and that's also helping to build a business, a brand, and money. So it's a perfect trifecta there. Yeah.
Remember how we talk about the trope because we came from artistic backgrounds and now we're entrepreneurs. You know, NFT is an opportunity for everyone to be creators, makers, and entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
So I don't think, like people say, there's a lack of resources. No, there's so much open opportunity for you. So this is the time to start being part of it and start building. And that's why even doing small collections, it allows you to see if you have the right community market fit.
Yeah, 100%. And so on this community market fit, I guess for those who aren't familiar, right? Where did this come from? How have you seen things evolve from the product market fit that startups are used to? Why is it a thing?
I think because it's PFPs is about the amount of holders you have as well. It's more user acquisition and community driven because you want people to resonate with the artwork or the NFT and the values that you have. And I believe that like product market fit means like you have demand for your like product, which is like a SaaS product. They use it. Like Facebook has like a good example of like daily active users. Or hourly. They probably should move into hourly active users. That's how much demand there is of usage of Facebook. And they monetize by throwing ads at them. And funny enough, now even like Mark has like owned the word meta. That's not, I'm surprised they got through it because they probably threw money at it because meta is a very generic dictionary word.
Yes. Yep.
They must throw a lot of money at it because like my IP lawyer was like, you can't use anything in the word dictionary. So that got thrown out of the door, I have to say. And he wrote, anyway, I'm not going to like vent about Mark or anything like that.
Yep, it's done. They've already
Yeah,
made the move.
but he kind of shows like where he's like playing around for the next 10 years as well, or where he's committing his energy for the next 10 years.
Yep.
And you probably seen him like going around talking about the metaverse. So he's moving towards that. And I think as early adopters, we're like 2 years ahead of everyone else.
Yep.
So we just need to like prepare for that.
Yep.
And Chubbiverse and Chubbiverse has allowed me to commit to the next 2, 3, even 10 years now as well.
Love it. Good. I think that's a good segue as well into this concept of meta communities. My team and I at Faia were doubling down on that. As soon as Mark did his whole meta rebrand, my team finally got what I've been trying to shout about.
You're always 2 years ahead, right? And I know, like, you're like sometimes 5 years ahead or 10 years.
It'd be grueling at the beginning for both of us. I know we're always like at the edge, but yeah, some people were like, don't know. But I knew, like, with that move I made to Singapore, it was all aligned with that, and just doubling down. Okay, communities and blockchain tech, it's gonna be a thing. And then we saw 2020, 2021. And then Meta making their move. I think Twitter also now made a move into the blockchain space by rebranding Square to Block, which is really interesting. But this space is here to stay, and it's going to shape a lot of consumer behavior. But so meta communities. So this is what we're talking about. How do you think communities within this metaverse are going to differ from communities in just normal online space? Because obviously there's like an overlap, but what are you seeing?
Look, what do you think is the meta? Like, I'd love to know your definition of the metaverse first, so then I contextualize the conversation as well.
Yeah, sure. There's that original definition from, what's that book from 1993? It was like something snow something. And that was essentially a virtual space whereby people are interacting with digital avatars of one another or digital environments. And so that's the definition that I've been going with, but I've been seeing a lot of different definitions floating around on the internet. Snow Crash, sorry, that was the name of the book.
Yeah. With like communities, sometimes like it's just a space for people to hang out together, whereas a metaverse is like a lot more different in terms of like you could have. I have multiple conversations with my community members on Twitter and on Discord. Those are the two big spaces. And so that's what I mean. Like, I feel like communities, like, they're a bit more gated.
Yep.
Whereas the metaverse is, you and I could be talking in multiple platforms.
Correct.
But we don't know what's going on. So we're on almost like the same wavelength. I feel like I'm virtually connected to you, or just connected to you, even though we're in different countries, we're on Zoom right now. But I feel like I know what you're doing.
Yep.
When we connect, we're on the same wavelength, and we're just like giggling and reconnecting again. So we're strengthening ties. So metaverse is like pretty much, we're not limited, is what I'm trying to say. So I guess like it's still very broad in that things, but metaverse is just more of an experience versus like a moment in time.
Yes. And we've got the mixed reality factor, right? Because I think the lines of reality are being blurred between the virtual realm and then the physical, especially now as we have augmented technology. We have, of course, the guys at Facebook Meta with the Oculus Rift, what they're trying to do. I still think it's clunky having the goggles. I remember one time in Melbourne, we were testing out the Snapchat glasses that you have, but that was more for recording.
Yeah. That was like way ahead of its time. It's all about timing, right? When you develop products or communities and things like that as well. So if you're way too ahead of everyone else, they're not going to pick it up. The mainstream won't pick it up. I feel like that's the case a little bit as well, but there's enough demand in the space where I could play around in the metaverse right now.
And this is where I keep telling people that, like, we've planned for 10 to 20 more years in this space. There's like a total, and using the launch of Bitcoin around 2008 as like the first 10 years that have already gone by. And I see 10 to 20 more years for things to go like proper mainstream. And with that, it makes it easier to make decisions now, even though it can feel like a very long time. You look, we've already gone through a decade and we are where we are. But I think with this blurred lines of reality, the community is what I'm seeing is that they are just very transitory, like ephemeral. And I think what blockchain is allowing is that in the future, I'm hoping to see that we can detach ourselves from the platforms too, and the data can travel with us wherever we go, which will.
I think like if we able to, an NFT is very transparent. We're supposed to build trust. So if we could hold our data inside our NFT somehow, and then it could travel, because I would love to see like a chubby coin have like multiple assets in one NFT. So it goes into one wallet, for example.
Yes.
And then like and as long as your ownership is like what I really be interested in exploring. Imagine that where, oh, I don't really like this hat, but I love this chubby friend or chubby coin. What if I could like have gold glasses just change? So you could update that data to reflect your true character. So that's why I'm super interested in digital merch or digital assets that could be added into your NFT. But I don't think the layering is there right yet for that to be happen. But I feel like that could potentially happen already. And we just, I think we do a lot of like agile projects or quick things to see if there's demand for it. But I could imagine people want to add more accessories to their current chubby friend or chubby corn or chubby. It's like people just like adding clothes. Like our wearing fashion is a identity thing for everyone. They want to wear clothes. They want to like show their bling. They want to do things. They want to show their brands. They want to. It's just like an identity thing, and I can imagine people want to stack or remove things based on their profile pics. So I think NFTs is just because it's a static image. It's just the first layering of digital identity, and it's like first layer of avatars in the metaverse using blockchain.
Yep. What do you think? Because it's interesting, right? The desire to create alternative identities for ourselves online has been here for decades already. But it seems like with NFTs and this emerging metaverse space, like people are just like doubling down on it as well, this alternate identity. What do you think is different about this moment in time compared to?
I think on LinkedIn, you have to show your face. So I'm wondering how long like LinkedIn will ban me because like it's not my face, but it's my identity. I'm gonna have actually looking forward to it. Then I could have a debate about identity.
Interesting. Yeah.
But because like you have to show you're a real person. Like I am a real person. I'm a real person in the metaverse and in real world. I happen to be represented by my cute chubby corn.
Yeah.
Am I wrong in this case? Or maybe you're not up to date with the current trends. But I'm probably just like an outlier in this space as well. So that's to be expected as always. But I feel like with people don't want to be doxxed because like they probably have people want alternative identity so they could be their real selves. They could be a bit of a because degen is still like a bit not looked, it's frowned upon. But if you work at a part-time doing something else, making a living on things, you don't want your business to know what you're doing.
Interesting. Very interesting about being your authentic self, but in like the real world, you can't really, right?
You and I don't care. Like we probably like we care. We do give a duck about certain things, but we already like created that change. We just created a holistic path to be our authentic self. But a lot of people don't have that opportunity, so they have to create alternative identity to be their true self. So the avatar allows them to explore without getting hurt, or like just allows them to be exploring their true self or something like that. And I think that's what humans are like, because like we got money, we got houses, what's the next thing? And I think the next thing is always like how to be better. So I feel like the metaverse is giving us the opportunity to level up as human beings.
Hopefully, right? Because there's the opposite side.
But it's just a space. Like there's always pros and cons. Your authentic self could be more toxic, but to who? Maybe they're just authentic and but I'm being authentic. But for others, it's hurting others. So like these like identity things that feel very philosophical is like a very human nature. So the metaverse is just like another space for us.
Interesting. No, I love that. Love that. So I think we're coming up to, we got about 10 minutes to go. So I think what's really fascinating in this space is also the development of the DAO area. And I know that you guys are also exploring the DAO for the Chubbiverse or Chubby Coins. So do you want to talk a little bit about?
Like we still figure out the legalities with it, but I think the governance structure of it is because we have two collections. The reality is we have two collections, and we do believe that Chubby Coins probably have we were attracted big brains, super creatives into it. So they tend to like be, and they're like more patient as well, we notice as well. So what happens with our Chubby DAO, it's more of a governance things, and we allocated $1 million USD dollars fund to help develop that. So it's almost like we split the business like structurally into two. Like there's like the traditional, like the core team hangs around and help with just marketing and into partnerships. It's almost like thinking about the IP side and making sure that we commercialize and find opportunities in partnerships. Whereas like the DAO almost looks after the blockchain side. So that way it's split, because like people can't, traditional businesses cannot think in crypto.
No, they cannot.
No, but they understand IP. So this is a language they're comfortable with. So we just split that in just because we just know that we have to develop these two things. But what's interesting is we did that just to future-proof ourselves. So the DAO is making sure that we continue to have these conversations with the community and build what the community wants. So we're actively, and plus like we're actively looking for people to take more ownership with the community product. This is like building from the bottom up.
So who holds which entity then holds the IP or will hold the IP? The traditional one or the DAO? The
traditional one, right? So it's like because we want to able to do a lot more with it. If we it's like asking permission. It's like we think who will do the most impact. Otherwise, we have to always like ask permission from the DAO. It's like, can we do this? Can we do that? And we don't.
And that's the challenge with the DAO, right?
So, but the DAO is almost like the treasury as well. So as long as we like continually fill it up, they could survive without the creators itself. As long as they build within the metaverse, it's almost like their role is to build out the metaverse of the Chubbiverse. Whether it be games, whether it be shops, whether it be like the meme machine. These are like, we just noticed like this is like almost like the blockchain. That's how I see it as, but we have like, we're still so early on, but at the moment we're putting the governance structure in. So then we could create almost like a voting, like electoral voting. So the Chubby Coin, one, they set up the proposal, get a pass. Two, make sure that the community gets to vote based on the proposals being presented and stuff. And that's because we want to ensure that the Chubby Coins have a big say in this as well. Truthfully, if you want to have a big say in the Chubbiverse, it's almost like you have to like get a Chubby Coin.
That makes sense.
So and plus like we studied a lot in the Dunbar numbers, and if you go beyond the 250, it becomes something else. And so we're trying to like make sure that the intimate group of the big brain, it's almost like the board. I'm treating like the Chubby Coin almost like a board, to tell the truth. A very big board, a very community board. And so that's what it is. Like we're still having discussions about it, but it feels like at the moment we're putting in the governance structure, making sure the Chubby Coins move and migrate them to their own contract, because they still haven't go on their own contract, set up the governance model for it. So then like the Chubby friends could start voting and contribute to conversations. But at the moment we're doing it manually, but also using that governance structure to propose projects. As long as it's with the Chubbiverse in the metaverse.
Yeah.
And we're buying land. Like, the first proposal came through,
Yeah.
or two actually, within the last week, because we just opened it up.
Yeah.
It's to develop buy land, digital land. And
so like in Decentraland or?
Yeah, Decentraland or Sandbox. I think we voted for Sandbox. And then the second one is to set up a merch shop.
Interesting. Yeah, it's fascinating because even within DAOs, I'm hearing people also talk about people coordination issues, and then even getting people to vote. Sometimes, like, some people might not vote on a thing. They have issues with, oh, this is a true representation. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's when you know who are active or not.
Yeah.
So like, people get overwhelmed with things. You have to almost think of it as like when people do campaigns, they're not door knock. They call people, they ping people. It's like investor relationships. They're not going to read your emails unless you sometimes directly message them to remind them of things. People won't, like, they probably get interested in for the first month, but after they tail off afterwards because something else caught their attention. So you have to be like, do what you can to be on top of mind, but also sometimes you have to do the hustle and DM them directly.
Yep, exactly.
So it's people coordination. It's like, no, you don't know how to campaign, my friend.
All right, so I think we might wrap there. So much more as always, but in the last couple of minutes, I might just see if there's anybody that's on the Twitter Spaces, if they want to ask String some questions. So for those of you that are on, if you'd like to come onto this, feel free to request, and I'll just see if this is working properly. So we got Top Buyer, we got Mo.
Both of them from the Chubbiverse.
Yeah, I guess I can tell with the avatar there for Top Buyer. And I know that, of course, some people can get shy with this, so maybe I'll leave it there. And yeah, String, thanks so much for coming on. We're going to have another chat right after this. But yeah, thank you everybody else who tuned in, and definitely go and check out Chubbicorns. Do you guys have a URL that we can shoot people?
I think the best place is like go to Twitter, twitter.com Chubbiverse, because we're very active in those conversations. And not gonna lie, like, we do really well in organic growth.
Yeah.
About 1.5 million views per month, impressions.
Love it.
So, yeah, Aoki helps sometimes too.
Yeah, I saw that. That's pretty dope. I'm glad, that it's. So when did that sale come in? When did Yoki purchase?
Like, he bought 3 and then he gave one to one friend. And he didn't want to sell it to that person too, but he gifted it because. So anyway, People Please is also part of it as well. They were like chatting about chubbicorns over dinner.
Yeah.
And people over like these fat chubbicorns, because like the community members memed them jumping with the chubbicorn. It was so funny.
Love it.
So I think Aoki came in around the 6th week or something like that. I had to double check.
Love it. All right. On that note, String, thank you so much for your time. And for those who are in the Twitter Spaces, thank you for tuning in as well. We'll try this again soon, and have a great rest of the day.